Hey everybody, so it's Edie and you're cooking with Guys Girl. So today we're gonna make something really easy, which is bruschetta. And bruschetta could really be anything. Today I'm gonna make one that is fresh tomatoes, basil, garlic, and olive oil. And we're gonna put it on some nice bread, and that's gonna be our bruschetta for today. But really, bruschetta could be anything. I mean, it could be a million different variations. Sometimes I'll do it with like a little sausage and peppers on top of it. Sometimes you can put like a little fried chicken or something on a bruschetta. You can put anything on bread and call it a bruschetta. But today we're gonna work on the one that's tomatoes, basil, and garlic. Now, the other thing about this concoction that I'm making is that a lot of times I will make this, the tomato, the garlic, and the basil, but I won't use it on a bruschetta. I'll fry up some chicken cutlets. I'll put it on the top of that when the chicken cutlets are done. And then I'll either sprinkle like with either some goat cheese or mozzarella or whatever cheese you happen to like. And there you have another dinner. The other thing that you can do with this, you can actually make a sandwich of this concoction. Nice Italian bread, put it in, and it's, you know, fresh tomatoes, garlic, and basil. I mean, it's like, what gets better than that? Not much. So I'm going to show you really quickly how I make this easy bruschetta, what it's going to look like at the end, and then we'll go from there. So let me just grab a knife. So one of the important things about the bruschetta is that you want the pieces. I'm going to cut the tomatoes, so I'm going to cut them in half, and then I'm going to cut them again. And I really don't want them teeny tiny because I want to bite. But you don't want them huge because they're actually going to be on a piece of bread, and you want them falling all over people when they eat it. So if you can see this, whoop, there goes my tomato. If you can see the size of my tomato, that's kind of like what you're going for. Not too big, not too small. You'll also notice I've got all different colors of tomato. Why? Because we want things that are easy, delicious, and pretty. And so you can have a bruschetta with just all red tomatoes. That would be pretty too. We're gonna put the green basil. But look, we've got orange, we've got red, and we've got yellow tomatoes. So when we chop this all up and put the basil and the garlic in it, it's gonna be even prettier. So I'm gonna chop up all these tomatoes and then we'll see what we've got. So as I'm cutting up the tomatoes, I mean, obviously it is summer here in New Jersey and tomatoes are just delicious. But truth be told, I make this in the winter too. It's just such a delicious dish. Again, in the winter, I may make the other variations of bruschetta. You know, a lot of times I will just take some like sausage and fry it up with some onions. Sometimes if I have like a friend coming over that's vegetarian, I will just make like a mushroom and fried onion and mushroom concoction and put it on the bruschetta. And you can add cheese or you don't have to add cheese. Really, your bread is kind of a canvas of an empty canvas that you can really put anything on it. So I'm chopping up all these tomatoes. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in some garlic and basil, which I'll show you. And then I'm actually going to let this all marinate overnight. But I made one yesterday for you, so I'm going to show you what the final step is and what it's going to look like at the end. Okay, so I'm chopping up the last of the tomato. I'm going to make a really small bruschetta here to show you. So I've got the last one here, but you know, you're going to see that a lot of things that I make are Italian, but I will tell you that my husband is African American. So we've been married for 30 years, and I've learned to make some of the things that he really likes. Like he loves macaroni and cheese, he loves collard greens, and so I have learned to make them. And the funny thing is that in our family now, on both sides of the family, like sometimes they'll say to me, Edie, can you make the mac and cheese? Even though as Italians, that's not really something that we grew up with. I will tell you something that I suck at, and that's still fried chicken. I don't know about the other Italians out there. We didn't grow up with fried chicken. So I tell my husband, go to your auntie or go to somebody else to get the fried chicken because mine is disgusting. All right, so we're done with the tomatoes. Now I'm gonna take a little piece of paper towel and wipe off my board because I don't want my basil to be wet, even though it's gonna go in here wet. That's just my cuckoo-ness, but I want the basil to be like nice before it goes in here. All right, so I've got the tomatoes in here. I'm gonna grab a fork and put some of the chopped garlic in here. Now I know this is sacrilegious for some people. You want me to go get a whole garlic and cut it up, and sometimes I do, but for this, I'm not. So I'm just chucking in a bunch. You see, I don't measure. That looks about enough. Oh, it smells so good. I wish I could just dab this behind my ears. All right, I'm gonna put a little garlic salt, a little pepper, okay, and then the love of my life, basil. So I'm gonna pluck off some leaves. And I'm gonna fold them. Let's see if you can see this. I'm gonna fold them up because I'm gonna use a fancy word here. I'm gonna chiffonade them. Just cut it in little pieces. That's all I'm doing. Because I want every single bite of every single piece of bruschetta to have some basil in it. So yeah, do I go overboard with basil? I do. I never think there's enough basil in anything, just like I don't think there's enough garlic in anything. Now you'll see, as you watch my channel, there's lots of things that I like to make. I even like to cook Asian sometimes. Am I an Asian cook? Absolutely not. But I know, I'm the type of person that I look at a recipe and I kind of think, even before I make it for the first time, I'll say, I think this needs this or this needs that. So a lot of times I don't even make the recipe the way it's supposed to be. But luckily, I probably have like an 85 or 90% success rate. There are times where it's been like, oh my gosh. And my husband looks at me like, did you bump your head today? Because this is awful. But luckily, that's only far and few in between. All right. So now I've got the tomato, the garlic, and the basil. And I have the garlic salt and the pepper. And now I'm just going to swish in a little bit of olive oil. And I'm just gonna mix it all up. Oh, if you could only smell. I wish my phone had smell to it so you could smell what this smells like because, oh my gosh. All right. At this point, I would put this in Tupperware and I would put it in the refrigerator overnight because I want everything to kind of marinate and taste good together. But because you're so special, I made one last night. So let me move these aside. So this is one that's been marinating overnight. Now here's a really key component. I've got a strainer. You have got to strain this out. There is so much juice in this. This would make your bread so soppy in the bruschetta, it would be all mushy. We don't like mushy things. So you see, I'm just gonna let this sit here and drain. In the meantime, let's get another cutting board. We're gonna cut our bread. Now, sometimes I'll use an Italian bread, sometimes I'll use French bread. Today I'm just using a loaf of French bread. The important thing about this, I'm gonna cut off the first piece because I don't want the coulis there. I'm gonna cut this on a diagonal. The reason I'm cutting this on a diagonal is I want more space for the bruschetta to go on. If you cut it this way, it's gonna be like half of this space, which means you're only gonna get like a little bit of the tomato mixture on it. So I'm cutting it on a diagonal. I am not cutting them too thick because you don't want it all chewy and doughy. And what I'm gonna do with this is I'm gonna put this on a cookie sheet in a second, and I'm gonna drizzle it with olive oil. And I'm gonna put it in the oven for 350 for like 3 minutes tops. Now, the reason that I do this, because I firmly believe that every layer when you're cooking should have flavor. The bread should have flavor. The bruschetta should have flavor. If you're going to put, some kind of cheese on top, that should have flavor. You should be piling on the flavor every single level of your cooking. So, I think that if you were going to, make this bread and just, put the bruschetta on here, I guess it would be okay. But if you really want to kick it up, toast it for like 2 or 3 minutes, olive oil. And then my other little secret is when we take it out of the oven, I'm gonna rub it with like a real garlic clove. Okay, so I finished chopping up the bread. And again, nice pieces. They're on a diagonal because we're gonna put that beautiful bruschetta on there. So Wegmans makes this delicious, and I'm sure other places do too, basting oil, and it's olive oil, garlic flavor with herbs. And if you can see this, it's like olive oil with like tons of green herbs and garlic. So I'm gonna put my finger over this because I don't want a whole bunch to come out. And I'm gonna put a little bit on every single piece of bread. This is money, people. This is money. All right. And I promise to shut off the video before I lick my thumb because this stuff is so good. All right. So now I am gonna stick this in the oven. I've got the oven at 350 and I'm gonna put it in there for no more than like 3 minutes. I just wanna toast it a little bit. You don't wanna burn it. If you're like me and you forget stuff in the oven like this and you forget it and you end up with burnt toast, set your timer. Okay, so the bread is in the oven. I'm just waiting for a couple more minutes to go by. As soon as it comes, the timer goes off, I am going to take this piece of garlic and I'm gonna rub it all over that hot bread. Again, we talked about layering flavorings. Now look, we've got garlic in the bruschetta, we've got garlic on the oil, and now we're gonna rub it with a little bit of garlic. So, I mean, we're gonna have flavor on top of flavor on top of flavor. And you know, that's what cooking should be. You know, you should be able to put your own spin on things. And you know, a lot of times, some of my friends who don't cook, they find cooking so intimidating. And it really isn't. I mean, you can make the most simplest things and they're delicious and you know, you can make them look nice, but don't let cooking intimidate you. I think for me, there's nothing more personal I can do for somebody than feed them. And this is really my passion. And I'm hopefully that when you see the recipes that I share with you, you can feel that passion come through. So I'm just gonna wait for that timer to go off and then we'll be back. Okay, so the bread has been in the oven for 3 minutes and they just came out. And now I'm gonna take that a clove of garlic and I'm gonna rub every single piece of bread, and it's hot and it's warm with the garlic. And you can't see it, but the garlic is kind of melting into the bread. It is just so fabulous. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Okay. Now, bruschetta is really a nice appetizer to make if you're having a dinner party. It's also really nice as part of, you know, I've mentioned before that when we entertain, I like to make tons of appetizers and just let people nosh around. This is a great one. People just love this. So again, I'm just taking that garlic and it's melting now. And so we've got that great olive oil on here with the herbs and the garlic. And now we've got the garlic clove all nice and rubbed in it. And now we're ready to build. Now remember, most important thing about this has been draining. Look at all that liquid that would have been on your bread and would have been all mushy. So we're gonna take a little bit of the bruschetta and we're gonna put it on each piece of bread. Because you're making a bite. You want it to be not too crazy full because people are going to be, you know, eating this. It's finger food and you don't want them to spill it all over them. Even though every time I eat this, I do spill it all over myself, but so what? I just pick it up and eat it again. All right, I'm going to put this on all of all the pieces of bread. And if you can just see how pretty it is. I've got the different color tomatoes. The garlic is white. The basil is green. Then you've got this great bread that smells amazing because of all the garlic oil and the garlic that we have on it. And now this is also where you can make different variations. A lot of times, and I'm going to show you today, I'm going to put goat cheese, a little sprinkle of goat cheese on the top of these. If you don't like goat cheese and you rather have mozzarella, or you don't want to have any cheese at all and you just want to have it, you know, all just tomatoes, you can absolutely do that. You know, it's the joy of cooking. You just make it your own. I really love to make things that I like to eat. I very rarely make food that I don't like. Once in a while, there's a couple things my husband really likes that I wouldn't eat even if you paid me, but I make them for him because I love him. All right. So now I'm going to take another spoon and I'm going to put a little bit of goat cheese on each one of the bruschetta. I'm only going to do half because a lot of times some people don't like cheese on it, so I give them the option. And again, how pretty. Look at this. You've got red, you've got green, you've got the different color tomatoes, you've got the basil, now you've got the white goat cheese. I mean, remember, cooking, it should be easy. It should be delicious. And trust me, this is delicious. And it should be pretty. And I'm going to show you one extra step on how we're going to make this pretty. You know, I'm always a firm believer in that just a dish. Now, literally, this dish cost me $3 at Home Goods. $3. So it's not a big deal. But imagine now I've got a whole bunch of appetizers because a lot of people are coming over. You want to have height. You know, you don't want everything on flat dishes, and so people are just, you know, going noshing and it's all over a flat dish. You want different heights. So bruschetta is a great thing to put on a display like this. But look how beautiful. It looks like you've been slaving in the kitchen for hours upon hours. You look like a gourmet cook. Look at that. And there you have it. Remember, this whole meal, it was easy. It is absolutely delicious. You'll have to take my word for it. And look how pretty it is. Enjoy. See you next time.